On behalf of the Campus Events Commission, I'd like to welcome all of you here today. My name is Ellen Svako, and I'm with the Speakers Program. I have just one very short announcement, and that is that on Tuesday, May 15th at noon, right here in Ackerman Graham Ballroom, Campus Events will welcome everyone's favorite, Mr. Pee Wee Herman. So you have that to look forward to. I'd like to tell you a little bit about today's guest, and then we'll show some film clips from 3 of his recent movies. I'd also like to remind you that there are microphones on either side of the ballroom, which you should use if you have questions. Our guest today, Sean Penn, is often described as one of America's most talented and promising young actors, and there's a great deal of evidence to support this assertion. At the age of 23, he's already taken on a variety of roles in both stage and film. On Broadway, he has played in productions of Heartland and Slab Boys, and he has earned critical acclaim for very diverse roles in such movies as Taps, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Bad Boys, Crackers, and most recently, Racing with the Moon. Okay, now we'd like to show you a few clips from some of his films, which I'm sure all of you will recognize. So can we have the clips, please?
Bad Boys. cash. That's right, the flowers.
So you're the one. Well, at least you're harmless.
Tell me about Michael.
Like to see my boyfriend or something?
Excuse me? Oh, I get it. You want a picture for your wall. You want some girl who's going to send you flowers and poems. Don't you ever think about anything that I can have some girl's dress? Like what? You gotta get this under control, right?
Hey, you promised.
Stop saying I promise you. Why do you have to come here? I couldn't be so that's not. You gotta pray. What the hell's wrong with you? You know what's the matter with me? You're always making your life a mess. I'm always getting out of it. Oh, since when did you become such a saint, huh? The only difference between me and you is you've been lucky, that's all. In the last few weeks, being around you, I think about things.
Like what sort of things?
Coming back.
Sean Penn, Elizabeth McGowan, Nicholas Cage,
Wait for me! Wait for me, huh?
Tracy Buffalo.
Hello. We consider ourselves very lucky to have Sean here today because although he's an impressive and popular actor, he tends to be a private person. He's here today to talk about his work and his outlook on what promises to be a very bright future. Would all of you please give a warm UCLA welcome to Mr. Sean Penn?
I guess this is kind of... Could we maybe get the lights on out there so I could see them? Oh, better. Well, I think I'd like to just open it up right away to question and answer because I don't know where to begin otherwise.
What responsibilities do you think actors or actresses have, if any, to the press or the public?
To the press or the public?
Mm-hmm.
I would say they have an enormous responsibility to the press and the public, directly under their responsibility to themselves, and that the responsibility to oneself, which kind of blends in and becomes one with the other, is the responsibility to be the best you can at what you do and to work as hard as you can while you're working. I imagine that you're asking this because I've had some recent problems with all this and kind of been made a scapegoat for some things that didn't work out with the last film. And you know, you do the things that you can. This last thing, I don't know how many people are aware of what was going on, but it got real blown out of proportion, and it's not a matter of whether somebody has a responsibility to do anything. It's whether they see a way that they can help something the best way they can, and I didn't see any of those on that.
Thank you. Thank you, I said.
You're welcome.
I was wondering what your next project is. Over the side. What is your next project?
I don't know.
Excuse me. Yeah. How'd you get your eyes to look so crazy in Fast Times? You couldn't have been acting and stoned at the same time because but you were looking. I just wondering how that happened, really.
I smeared mentholatum in them.
Is that okay? Sean, you've been compared to James Dean. I was wondering whether that bothers you, or whether you're complimented by it, or how do you feel about it?
Well, I think it's ridiculous. But I think that I don't. But it's awfully common. I think whoever is the young actor that has a movie out at the time, that week, he's the one that's compared to James Dean. And so I guess it means that you're a young actor with a movie out, and if that's true, then I'll take it.
Sean, I was wondering, when you were in junior high taking a journalism
I know
class,
you, man.
or on Mr. Finch's tennis team, right? Were you seriously thinking of pursuing an acting career then, or did it come after?
I don't really remember when it clicked. I don't. Sometime around then. Yeah. How you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How about yourself?
All right.
Oh. I'll talk to you later.
Sean, over here on the other side. Hi. I was wondering, what began your acting career and what motivated you to go into acting?
When I got out of high school, let me move this. Just when I got out of high school, I knew that I wanted to do that. I'd been working on some Super 8 movies and things like that in high school, and for lack of anybody else to do it, I had to be in them also, and kind of liked it. And so right after high school, I got with a repertory company and started doing that thing, and a play here and there, and a lot of technical stuff, lighting and that kind of thing, and then doing another play, and some television things, and then some movies and plays.
Have you been doing anything specifically in the way of training?
It's been a while since I've been in class, but I on and off do and intend to, again on and off. But yeah, I did for a couple of years go to acting classes and that kind of thing.
Thank you.
Hi, Mr. Penn. Have you run over any Smirnoff bottles lately?
Oh. Boy, this is your life.
I wondered if you guys...
This person picked me up hitchhiking the other day.
Did you get your truck back? Just thought I'd say hi.
Hi. Thanks for the ride.
Yo, this way. Whatever happened to those Super 8s that you made with Gardner Graver in high school? Like the ones you got shot at and died?
They're hidden someplace.
Why don't we ever get to see them? You should bring them over here. Do you remember us all in high school?
Who am I looking at? Is that
Amanda
Miss Thompson? Yeah, how are you?
Pretty good. I bet you're hated by all of us now. I mean, we're still in college. Just thought I'd tell you that, pal.
It's no change if I remember high school.
Yeah, you used to be so quiet. What happened?
I got rich.
Hi, Sean.
Hello.
You don't know me.
Go.
The characters you've played have been very diverse, and I was curious, is there a little bit of yourself in each of the characters, or how do you go about researching the characters that you don't know much about? Such as in comparison with the character in Racing with the Moon with the character in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
This is something you think about a lot, and you hear. I think about a lot, and other actors, in terms of themselves, think about a lot, and whether you're playing something that's not yourself or you're playing a part of yourself, and that kind of thing. And I guess that I was reading something that an interview with Sam Shepard recently, and he said something about personality being everything that a person isn't. And I suppose that means that we're all in a kind of neutral limbo, and the more you keep your eyes open, the more personalities you can kind of take on, and it's not any more a part of myself, I suppose, than, you know, joking around up here or whatever.
Is there any character you identify the most with?
Yeah.
Thank you.
As she said over there, you play such diverse roles that I was wondering, do you actually look for the different personalities, different characteristics in the characters that you play, as far as when accepting scripts, when looking at scripts, are you tuned into the fact that this is different than this character is different than this character, and how important it is to play the different characters? Because, of course, playing different characters is a mark of a good actor.
Yeah, but see, I get probably too much credit on this, and that's why this question's been asked twice, because along with playing different characters, I have a lot of fun kind of finding different looks, you know, and it...
Like Dillard?
Well, yeah, and I think that, you know, that you can do it without that. For me, it's what I look for is something that's exciting, you know, something that if I look at something and the way I see the character physically resembles something I've done before, then I probably wouldn't get too excited about it, but I wouldn't rule something out because maybe it would have a similarity, because they're all different. You know?
Okay, thanks.
Over here. How did you feel about working with Louis Malle, and also how do you feel about the reception that Crackers got?
I loved working with Louis Malle. One of the few directors I've loved working with, and I expected Crackers to be received just as it was. I'm very, very glad I did it. Very proud of it. It's the one movie that my mother doesn't like, you know. I did, and that's okay. But I had a great time, and it was a great group of actors, and I think we were out there to make something that was a little different, and it was a movie that was on a real fine line, whether it could drop into something really great or something kind of middle ground, which is, I think, what it did. But I had a great time working on it.
I have a nice shallow question for you. What was the first thing you bought with your large, you know, your first big paycheck? So you mentioned rich, you know.
No, that's a joke. The government's rich.
The government? All right, thanks.
Yeah.
This side again. It's like a tennis match, isn't it? I wanted to ask you, I heard in the wind that you are developing or you are being considered in casting in a project called Poe with David Bowie. I'm wondering if you have any elaborations on that, or if you heard anything more on that, what you know about it.
I think I probably know about as much about it as you do. I've heard about it. But that's about where it is. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Over here. I'd like to know how you like working on stage in contrast to film, and do you plan on doing any more stage work soon?
Yeah, I love working on stage. I don't know if I have a preference, you know, in my conscious mind, but I seem to end up doing more movies at this point than plays. But I think that's also partly because I like Los Angeles better than New York, and I don't like to be in New York, and there's not too many plays going on out here. Yeah, you know, I like to do them a lot, and I'll do more. Yeah.
Thanks.
Hi, Sean. Not to put you on the spot at all. Considering here in Los Angeles, there's got to be a million up-and-coming, aspiring actors and actresses here, myself not included. What would you consider to be the quintessential quality in, quote, making it in the entertainment business? Would it be ability or knowing the right people. I'm sure that most actors would downplay the role that they have, either as a relative being in the business or a close friend. But what would you consider to be the one main quality?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know. You know, it's different with everybody.
Thanks.
Sean, over here. We know you've done a lot of diverse work. Are there any specific goals that you've set for yourself at this point in time, or are you just kind of taking every day, by itself?
Oh, there are goals in terms of certain particular projects and parts that I want to play.
Such as?
Well, they're long descriptions for each. It's a long kind of, I'd have to get into a long thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I was wondering, what's your favorite art? What's your favorite work that you've done? Your favorite acting? Your favorite part that you've been in?
I think probably this has probably always been true. I've always felt that I feel like, and I hope that I get better with each, and I think the one I just finished is by far my best work.
And also, I was wondering who the actors are that you look up to, like, if you have any.
It's so, it's always changing, and the only reason I don't want to answer the question is because I'll mention two people and wish I mentioned two others, and there's a lot of real good actors.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Sean. I was wondering if you have any plans to work with your brother Chris.
If something comes up, we've talked about it. We'd like to work together. I think if the right thing came up. What do you think?
Okay, we'll be looking forward to that.
Okay.
Hi. You mentioned Sam Shepard before, and he's unique because he does act and he writes so well. And I was going to ask you if you could design your own project, not even for yourself, what would be something that would interest you?
If I did what?
If you could design your own script or project, not even for yourself as an actor, but to write, what would be something that would interest you that you haven't seen be done before?
I guess I'd like to, I don't know, yeah, it's kind of like a dream question in a way. It's like, I think you're asking me what I'd like to, go poof and have made?
No, but I know that's a hard question, but would you like to write, say, a movie script or anything that you've ever had a project in your mind that you think that's plausible, or anything that interests you like that? Guess not. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure I can answer. I don't know.
All right, thanks.
How to answer it.
Okay, I wanted to know, I was curious, do you ever think about going to college maybe now or in the future? Or what you're missing out or what you're not missing out on?
You mean other than like this?
Yes, real college like econ and all that.
I can't, I gotta go to work.
Sean, have you found it difficult to cultivate other aspects of yourself other than the professional Sean Penn, the actor?
You mean have I found it difficult in terms of
finding time
outside of acting?
And separating yourself from the business, so to speak.
Oh, there's obstacles, absolutely. But yeah, you find time and do some other things.
I guess I was just curious as to what your other interests might be. How do you spend your time?
Neil Young said something about you can learn a lot from wasting time. I do that.
All right. Thanks.
Is there any way for two well-known actors and actresses to avoid the public scrutiny? What are the difficulties with it?
Just the obvious ones.
How do you go about avoiding the constant public scrutiny?
What's that?
Do you try?
Sore subject right now. I think
A couple of questions, Sean. First of all, what things or people were responsible for what you considered? Capiche?
Yeah. My parents, my friends, and the first ones that hired me, I suppose.
In other words, was it that you had a good agent that was pushing for you, or was it that you kept knocking on doors, or what?
That helps a lot once you kind of get going, I think. At least that was the case for me. Having a good agent helps a lot once you're going to, maintain or build.
Okay, here's the second question. What advice do you have to give to someone who's very interested in making a career in films as a leading actor?
Act a lot. Find out what's wrong with you and
You mean
make it
studying
better.
in class, or?
Well, it depends. I think that's a pretty personal thing. I know a lot of actors that are very against classes. For me, it was a necessity. I think acting can be learned, and I think you got to learn it. I think that's the best advice I give is do it. Just do it a lot.
See, I'm just getting started right now. I'm studying, and I just recently got an agent. But what I'd like to do is go ahead and get some film work under my belt, and that's why I was asking, if there's something you might advise as to how to go ahead and get started with that.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that the best thing you can do in whatever you do is just find whatever opportunities you have to do it and do it. There's a lot of equity waiver theater around, and do that. And
okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Sean, is there any director that you would really look forward to working with in the future?
Yeah, there's a few guys. There's this. As a matter of fact, there's very few. I have a thing about directors. I want to, the Directors Guild sign on it's on Sunset Boulevard. If anybody wants to help, one day I want to change the letter so it says Dictators Guild of America.
Why would you want to do that?
Because it seems more honest to what they're doing. But there's a few guys. There's this guy over here, James Foley, who's got a good head and is going to make good movies. This guy, Richard Pierce, who made Heartland and Threshold. Robert M. Young, who made Short Eyes, now in Bristad.
One more question. Do you have like an ideal project in your head that you would want to see happen someday?
Yes, I do. But I don't want to discuss it now because it's not happening yet or anything like that.
Okay, thanks.
Sean, I'm not going into acting, but I have a quick question for you. What do you think about mixing lewds and driving?
Don't.
Okay.
Sean, just out of curiosity, what kind of music do you like to listen to?
What kind of music?
Mm-hmm.
I like Phil Oakes, Bruce Springsteen, and Peter Gabriel.
Thank you.
Hi. What scene do you feel that you worked very hard on that ended up on the cutting room floor after the final cut of the movie was made?
I had an experience that way with Bad Boys. There was a scene in Bad Boys that was very, very important to me, and they hatcheted the thing. It's gone for good, and I don't know what's happened to it.
Maybe they'll restore the real
I don't think so. It's
full
dead.
length. Thanks.
Hi. I was wondering if you enjoyed the experience in the play Slough Boys, and did you enjoy working with Kevin Bacon in that play?
Yeah, I had a great time on that. I think Kevin Bacon's a real good actor, and I think we had a good time working together, and yeah, it was very good.
Right. Another thing was, I heard that you're doing another movie with Timothy Hutton. Is that right?
Sorry?
Are you doing another movie with Timothy Hutton?
We just finished it,
Finished
yeah.
it up? Good experience?
I think it's going to be a very good movie.
Thank you.
It's called The Falcon and the Snowman.
Hi. I was wondering what kind of role you like the director to play. Do you like him to give you a lot of direction as far as character, or do you like to be left alone?
How I like a director to behave?
Yeah, I mean, do you like a lot of direction? Do you want to be, would you rather have him leave you alone as far as character?
I think that if these people would listen to what they're called, they'd be in much better shape. They're directors. If they hire the right people, all they have to do is direct them. That means to guide them. When they start deciding for them, then they're the deciders of the movie. It's wrong. It should be a collaboration. I don't want to, rule anything either. But the person who's there should be someone who's knowledgeable enough about the project and excited enough about the project, so that he knows who to hire, and you don't feel like, I feel very often like, excuse me, but obviously you hired the wrong person because you're telling me to do things that I'm not going to do. And I think that if you hire the right people, and you just guide them, they're going to show, actors can show directors. Nicolas Cage, who spoke here, is a perfect example of somebody. If they would just let this guy go, he'd own the world. He's got these great instincts, and if you direct him in such a way where you're restricting that, it's really a shame, and those good things don't happen.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, could we talk for a second? Are you, I'm just curious, are you nervous, or do you just not like people to know about your personal self?
Am I nervous right now?
Yeah, because when people ask you questions about your personal self, you don't really answer. So, and you do about when you're talking about your profession.
There's a good reason for that, because they don't really want to know. I mean, nobody, people ask all these questions, they read that stupid People magazine and all that shit. And the thing is, you get it and you're like about to yourself, and you open it up, and then you feel dirty after looking at it, and you say, well, okay, I'm going to go someplace. You have to leave the house after you look at it. So there's no reason to answer it. Everybody has the same feelings. Everyone knows the same things about each other, and anything else is just particulars.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Sean. When Nicolas Cage was here a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned that you guys took a trip together to prepare for your roles in your movie Racing with the Moon. Do you have any stories about that?
Do I have any? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you too well.
You and Nicolas Cage took a trip out, I forgot exactly where, I think Point Muir, to prepare for your role in your last movie. Do you have any stories regarding that trip?
No.
Nothing happened?
Huh?
Well, I think he mentioned that you guys went to Denny's and gave the waitresses a hard time and stuff. And
Oh, well, you can't go in a restaurant with Nicolas Cage. It's impossible. He's like, if this is the salt shaker, you're sitting across from him and you're having a very intimate conversation, and suddenly you realize he's unscrewing the top and he starts wheeling the salt all over the restaurant. So yeah, there's stuff like that, but I can't even go into some of the things.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. I know someone asked about you working with your brother, but how do you feel about him getting into the business now?
He's the best young actor I've seen.
Thank you.
Who's the best acting coach you ever worked with?
Sorry?
Who's the best acting coach you ever worked with?
A woman named Peggy Fury.
Peggy Fury?
Yeah.
Is she LA based or New York?
Yeah, she has a loft on La Brea, and she's a great, great teacher. She has a lot of insight. Very good.
Thanks a lot.
Sean, in regard to your feeling towards directors, I was wondering how you felt about working with Richard Benjamin. Did you find him to be a little more compassionate because he was a former actor?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just had a quick question about the last film you just finished up, I guess, down in Mexico. Did you ever have a chance to really get into working with the subject of the film? I'm talking about the Falcon and the Snowman, I guess, Chris Boyce, which is who you portrayed. Did you ever get to talk to him at all and maybe get his feelings?
No, I played the other guy.
Okay.
I played Andrew Dalton Lee.
Did you ever get to meet either of them, or?
Yeah, he's a friend of mine.
Great.
Sean, I just wanted to say, in response to your answer to the woman a few questions ago, you seem to feel like a lot of people look at you as some kind of an exhibit in a zoo or something when you were talking about People magazine. Some people out here do care about you as a person, and we're happy that your career is going well, and we think what you're doing is great. And I just wanted to let you know that. We're not just here to look at you, okay? And we appreciate your coming out, too.
Thank you.
We have time for just 2 more questions. Does anybody want to ask anything else?
Sean, would you ever work under Coppola?
I would never work under anybody.
Would you ever work with Coppola?
I don't know. Time will tell.
Okay, you're a very secretive guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess that's it then. Thank you very much for coming today.